collectively decided he had the pictures. We might as well have him. He arrived, got stuck on the gardener. So, Paul, you're number 4. But I'll start off with number 1. So Manny Ayromlou, I think I got it right. Nice.
Close enough.
Is a system designer for operations technology services here at Ryerson. And he's not actually going to come up because he's going to start talking there, but I'm going to actually introduce all of the panelists at the moment. So after Manny will be Brian Leroy, who is with us at Sportsnet as our engineering manager.
Am I supposed to come up?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
If you can. Followed by Eric Heidendahl, who is the professor coordinator of the broadcast engineering course at Loyalist College. Number 4, Paul Steckley, is the president of Applied Electronics. And number 5, with his own choice, is Michael Noonan, who is the senior manager of broadcast operations. I think there should be an audio in there somewhere. Right? There we go. Throw an audio in there, and that's Michael, and he's with Bell Media. So we'll start off. Probably, I guess we'll keep the lights off for your presentation. So over to you, Manny.
All right. Well, as Reed already kind of pointed out, there was the attack of the drones. I figured that was with Star Wars releasing. That was a good enough title. Too many drones. This was this year's motto, I guess. What's that? Theme. Yes. Crave more. More what? They didn't tell us. More drones. Well, more of this stuff, right? So there was, how many we got there? 2, 4, 6, 7 concepts I kind of walked away with. VR goggles and headsets, lots of them on the floor. I think that's going to be maybe potentially the next big thing in the living room. You'll see a bunch of people kind of looking around and not knowing what the heck they're looking at. They look kind of funny when you're kind of the outsider watching them. 360 real-time video was also pretty interesting. There was a bunch of booths doing real-time stitching using multiple GoPro cameras kind of stuck in these 3D printed housings. 265, again, getting better, faster, cheaper. Still not there. I was talking to a bunch of people. They're still saying, yeah, there's no real consumer use for it. I guess for production, though, is something that's becoming reality. Saw some streaming H.265, which looked really good. Streaming over LTE at 10 megabits per second. I don't know who gets 10 megabits on LTE, but they were showing it looked really damn good. 4K, basically everything from GoPro to F65, F55 was doing it, and all the guys in between. And the other side of it was basically HDR video. So HDR video, for those of you not familiar, is kind of like a tone mapping technique that grabs multiple frames and kind of averages them out, so you get much more dynamic range. And I don't know if it looks better, it just looks more alive. Yeah, it looks different, I guess. I think of it as more fake. I don't know. It just, like, every time I look at a HDR picture, it's like, okay, that looks just too much. Drones, of course, tri, quad, hexa, octa, whatever. There's like all sorts of stuff. Even hobby shops were there, as you saw this year, which was kind of interesting. Steady cams and gimbals. Again, anybody who had a drone had to have, of course, a gimbal, and they were, kind of separating that. And it's like, oh yeah, here we go. There's another product. And the last thing is Dolby AC4 got ratified, I think, finally for ATSC3. That's going to be the surround standard for ATSC3. And I think along with that, there was also an announcement for, if I remember the number right, AES67, which is audio over IP. I think AES is actually having a presentation a couple days from now or a week from now. So that was kind of interesting as well. Moving on here, so okay, we've all seen this. Drones, more drones. And some even on 4 wheels, didn't fly around. The interesting concept here was the bottom right picture. That's the actual control for the gimbal. That's the video operator control. That's not the actual flying control. So you got focus pull. Can't get my pointer there, but you got focus pull on the left. You got the actual gimbal control, and you've got the the aperture setting on that little dial, the white dial, and then also to other knobbies, and you get a preview of the video that the drone's shooting, plus all kinds of other things you can turn on and off, lights and things like that. That was from the Free Fly Alta, I think, company. I think that's their name. One of the new things that's coming out is 4K HEVC encode and decode on Intel platform on the GPUs. This was done on the, I think the GPU is called the Iris Pro graphics. So there was a company, which I can't quite read right now, it's something one, that was showing actually an encoder. So that picture on the right is basically a Core 2 quad i5 computer, and what they've done is basically to replace the top, and it's about, it's only about this big, and they can do H.265 encode. The guy was saying 1080p. They're not there yet with 4K, but Intel was actually advertising it that they can do that with 4K now. This was a really cool company, Ottawa-based. Ontario had a pavilion there, so these guys were in the Ontario pavilion. They're former RTA grads, and they gave me a demo. So basically what it is it's a studio in the cloud, that's sort of like a control room in the cloud. You load up your web browser, you go to a site, you get a bunch of performers on iPads, iPhones, tablets, notebooks, whatever, or cameras even with attached IP transports. And you can basically switch between all those inputs and other things. And you can basically create custom channels for your viewers. And I've got like a small little demo. Hopefully this audio will work here. Just, yeah. Of course not.
Live at the Ontario Pavilion. Now we're going to turn it over to Bruce, who's going to give us a live report from the floor. Bruce, take it away.
So Bruce is a camera. And that there is basically the control mechanism. So he's got the two IP cameras, he's adding more content. Sorry, I'm just kind of going up and down with the video. I was just trying to get the buzzwords in there.
So, how's it going here? Are you enjoying your time at the NAB thus far?
Oh yeah, it's really my feet right up. Backwards.
I bought some rock boards for vacation. Cool, so now we'll step over to the TJ station and I'll show you how...
So the output, we haven't seen the output yet. The output's coming. So the audience,
So,
this is the back end.
It's in any web browser. JJ can preview the feeds that are coming in.
So that's the
That's
output.
what the user sees on about a 10-second delay. And we can add interactive game mechanics. We can set timers on the shots. All kinds of cool stuff. So you can see he's setting up a few shots in advance. And then we just watch him do the switching. So it's just a one-up shot of the iPad. You can see like, and then the pre-recorded video. And then if you want to show us what the user sees, you can see how the switching is taking place. So
all those elements at the bottom, which is yanked and the yes and no, all those are done in real time. They're added into the player, into the video player on the fly.
This can be broadcast.
So there is another voting thing that's popping up. They had really bad Wi-Fi in the hall, so not all the elements were loading fast. And there we go.
It's a pretty neat way to do live productions online. Great for live entertainment.
Really impressed, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So the CEO and First coming by in an hour, so you guys some practice. Friendlies.
Okay. Couple questions.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so that's a short one of that. This was really cool. I think about 6 months ago we were talking about SDR, software defined radio. This was basically the badass SDR modulator. I think it actually did demodulation as well. It was basically a USB 3 SDR dongle that allowed you to transmit and receive ATSC signals. And it was a really nice case made by DeckTech. And they had the software go with it and all that for basically a small setup. There's all the modulation standards on the sign there. As I was saying, 3D and goggles and VR generally. So we saw lots of VR goggles, 3D stitch video in real time using these GoPro cameras. And HP had a really cool product called the Z-Space, HP Z-Space, which they sort of token as interactive virtual reality. So this is a co-worker of mine playing. So he's wearing glasses. There is 4 cameras on top of that tablet, and those cameras are basically tracking that position of his eyes, position of his face.
Ripped his heart out. Oh, little ones, man. These are controlled?
Yeah,
Or
so
just
this
other
is the
things?
zoom,
Oh, yeah.
and that's like a select.
So we're not obviously he's seeing it 3D. We're not. It's a polarized glasses. That camera on top didn't do anything. That just shot basically fed the screen on his right. So he's just drawing a path right now. And you'll see in a sec, he's going to drop that camera on there.
Really cool. If you click on this one again, and click and hold the camera, once it turns blue, yep, you go inside the heart, and it'll show you up here the ventricles and
Whoa.
inside the heart.
You have 2 days to live. I'm sorry, sir. Oh, there, so,
Oh, see, there we go.
oh,
Just
where
go
else?
around.
How'd you do that? Yeah. Over here.
Anyways, he's going to get lost. I'm just going to sort of skip over the video here. He's going to get lost, and it's a bit of fun. Next video is, again, I was talking about the guys with VR goggles. This was actually designed as a presentation, sort of like a mock-up of a living room, I guess, or I guess the closest thing would be a living room. And these guys are basically wearing goggles, headsets, and there's a presentation. It's called The Book of Life. You can see this guy, like, he's looking up and down. Couldn't quite capture the actual content. I was trying to, but. So that's what we're all going to look like in a couple of years, I think. It's going to look really weird. Live VR video. This was a company from France called Video Stitch. They're doing live stitching of, I think, 8 cameras or 6 cameras.
No, still can.
Does have a seam though. Yeah, there is a small little seam. Pretty neat.
So that's basically the unit. 5, 6, 7, I guess, cameras, yeah. Oh, 6. And they've somehow figured out how to wire these and basically grab the power and HDMI, transfer them to a little box in the bottom. I don't know exactly what the box did. I assume it was a feed transmitter kind of device. And then they would bring it onto a PC and run it through their encoder, renderer software. And you could wear, again, goggles and view the whole thing. This was another model. This was underwater. From Global 360, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. This was some footage shot with a camera. And you can see some of the other models. There are all sorts of different configurations that they had on the table there. Sort of surround, matrix style, all sorts of bizarre stuff. And this company was actually there the year before. We were in the Intel booth, and they were promoting their 3D printing technology. This was kind of neat. NTT Karari, I believe, immersive telepresence. And it's UHD full-scale holographic projection mapping with 22.2 surround sound. And apparently they're going to do that for the Olympics in various locations around the world. I just shot a little bit of it. It's actually quite amazing in real life. So different cities around the world, they're gonna be showing this. HDR video, this was kind of like a comparison basically. You can see the regular video on the right, 2K resolution, regular video on the left, sorry, HDR video on the right, and then they had the 4K on the side. Looks nice. It, you know, certain situations I'm not sure it's good. Mobile 4K, 4K over LTE, 10 megs, looked really good. This was done with Qualcomm, I believe.
To be honest, we believe that we can differentiate.
Blackmagic, of course, new cameras every year. $9.95. These are the micro cameras. $9.95 for 2K, $12.95 for 4K. The interesting thing is there's no controls on these cameras. They're really meant for drones, and they had a side booth kind of set up with a company that had basically figured out how to do the RS-45, I guess, to controller translation, and they were controlling the cameras using just traditional flight controls. Just has a serial port on it and a couple of buttons at the front. That's about it. And it takes a Sony camera, I think, at the back. The one on the right now is the 2K. The one on the left is the 4K. 4K has additionally HD SDI, the little spigots sticking out of it. There was also an Orsa Mini camera announced at the show. They're saying it's the lightest 4K camera in the world or something like that, and it's well balanced. It's nice. I just didn't get any footage of it. Another interesting thing I saw was Glen Sound's mobile phones. At least it was interesting to me. I've never seen this before. So these things are basically rack-mountable mobile phones. They take a GSM card, and you can have all your talkbacks, and they have these different module configurations that you can configure these things with. So this was interesting, and they basically also do HD sound apparently on Bell and Telus in Canada. This guy had a list of different providers that did HD sound. This was an interesting product, VizLogic's Easy Touch. This was in the Epson booth, and it's basically a multi-touch capable. It turns any piece of glass into a multi-touch capable device, I guess, or projection surface. The guy explains it a little better.
Behind the glass and front of the glass turns into an interactive. And how many points do you have? How many touch points? 32? I didn't know that. Yeah, 32. Yeah, up to 32 touch points. It's a multi-touch film. That's, yeah. How does one person do it? Your finger painting, that would help. Yeah. But yeah, in reality. And how do you license it? Is it per touch?
So the neat thing about this was that this is in like a lot of light. This booth wasn't darkened or anything. This is in, there was enough light that my iPod was just like shooting no problem. And that's what's special about the material that they have is you can do it in daylight basically, and you get this kind of contrast.
It does not come off of a roll. This is not a diffusion projection material that comes cut right off of a roll. We actually build it to the projected angle. That's why this is actually deemed a daylight capable screen, because it's not standard projection material. Think of it almost like minute little prisms that are in line going across the screen. So that angle that it accepts the projection is based on this. So it allows the other light to fall through the screen.
This was very cool. Panasonic was showing a 3-chip laser projector. I was like, kind of passed by and was like, what is that monster lying on the floor? And it was pretty amazing. Very short throw, like super short throw, basically. Beautiful color, like very crisp, beautiful color.
The only thing that'll actually show true high dynamic range are laser projectors at the moment.
Oh, that's, yeah. It might have been. I didn't actually go and read.
That's
Yeah.
the only way to actually see it.
HeroCast was kind of a cool little product. It basically allows your GoPro camera to become wireless. A wireless streaming camera, I guess, is what they were selling it as. There's the attached version and the detached version. And you can see the delay is actually not that bad. The latency, you can see me moving the camera up and down in the background there. It's not too bad. This was a German company, Austrian company in the startup pavilion, I guess, in the North Hall called Lineup. I think they got bought out by Rydell, if I'm not mistaken, like the day after. They're basically, they came in with an iOS-based intercom, and their main thing was that the intercom system could be deployed anywhere by just dropping in a wireless access point and handing out, iPhones, iPods, iPads, whatever, to people. And this thing it was a self-ordering system, so when you ran the app, it would find the predestined wireless access point, and it would just log in and start doing all kinds of cool stuff.
Top function, answer.
So you can see how responsive that is. That's actually over wireless in the hall that they had set up in their booth.
Create groups, cancel people from the group, or put them back into line, and talk just one single clip.
So that's group
Create
chat.
actually this is Vincent. Create a listen only function, so I'm going to hear it but not able to repeat. Put it again, just create a assistant.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, they're using HD audio as well. They're using HD audio codec, which is, I assume it's a really, really efficient codec for transmission. This was kind of a cool, in the Sprocket area, I think it's called, web tuner. It's basically an Android stick that actually plugs into the wall directly. Ethernet HDMI out. And the nice thing about this company is they actually have the entire development back end kind of figured out, so you can customize the actual, I guess, head end of where the content sits. So that's it. That's the whole deal. Comes with 16, 32, or 64 gigs of RAM, and their graphic chip actually can decode 265. So this is 265 actually being played. It's an Apple TV in a stick, basically, yeah. Except it could do 265, which was kind of interesting. And it was open. So these were like $65 to $100 with Android 5 KitKat already installed. And you didn't have to root them to get access to all sorts of stuff that Google doesn't want to get you access to. So that was kind of neat. Same place, around the same place. I think it was in the innovation area, ECMA 407. Swiss company by the name of, I can't really read it, Swiss Audec, I think, was showcasing 22.2 to 7.1 to headphone surround sound. They claimed it was the world's first 3D audio standard. It was damn good. It was really, really well done. And I didn't talk to the guy for like literally 5 minutes because he was doing his presentation. And the gist of it was that the more channels to start with, the better the Hall effect would be, or the better the surround effect would be. I think the encoder was something like 60K or 6,000 euros maybe even. Decoding was done on any sort of iDevice or Android device using software, using an app. Really, really neat application. And yeah, this was kind of an interesting. So with all these gimbals and stuff hanging from you, this was a company had basically designed this armor man thing that you wore, and basically helped you hold your hands up like this, which is kind of interesting. And that's pretty much it. That was an app for me.
Great, thanks, Manny. That was certainly comprehensive.